Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Funky Brain Podcast. Hope everybody's doing great today. My name is Dennis, and I'm super excited to have a great guest with me today. And before I introduce him, I want you guys to look what it says behind me. It says the impossible. I want you all to know that impossible is nothing. Impossible is only up here. And my guest today believes that. You are only limited by your own beliefs. And my guest is a world-renowned addiction consultant and author of the book, Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking, with a PhD in psychology from Oxford University, and like me, is a recovered alcoholic and addict himself. Dr. Robb Kelly, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing amazing, and I don't have bad days. I have better days than others, and I'm living the dream instead of dreaming of living. Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
That's right. He said, I used to dream of living, and now I'm living the dream. And I never heard that one. I love it. I'm going to start applying that.
So true, though, because, years ago, I'd be sat in, just before I became homeless, I'd be sat in a one-bedroom apartment with no furniture because I've sold everything for alcohol and drugs. And I'd be sat there, and I spent hours going, I wish I could. Well, wouldn't it be great if I could? Well, and all this stuff that just didn't come to fruition because of my drinking. And it was just, one day it just happened. And then I look back now and I go, wow, I used to sit there dreaming of living, and it was never going to happen. But now I'm living the dream. So something's happened that's just absolutely amazing, to me anyway. To go from where I was to homelessness to where I am today is humanly impossible.
I know that you have a story, and there's a lot of people struggling out there that are killing themselves and dying and don't know that they can actually change their lives. So I want to hear the story from the bottom to the top, right back down to the bottom and back to the top. So share with us some of that story.
So just on that note, if anybody's out there struggling and think they can't do it, I'm going to tell you some amazing stuff today. It's going to blow your mind. Believe me. So I started drinking at the age of 9. I'm a musician by heart. So I was thrown on stage at the age of 9 and a very nervous child. And that's when it all happened for me. At one gig somewhere along the line, I was nervous, and my uncle gave me a beer. A half a beer, and I drank that half a beer, and oh my goodness, the whole world lit up. Now that was my clue right there, because I ask people now, how old is you? I was about 10, 12, 14. What was the first drink like for you? These are normal people. Oh, it was horrible. I threw up. It tasted nasty. Oh, none of that for me. It was, oh my God, someone's just opened my eyes to the whole wide world. I know now, but I didn't know then that was my alcoholism, and it was going to bring some horrible years ahead. I drank weekend and then into high school, probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, I was drinking. And then as I got into college, I was drinking every single day. The important thing to remember, guys, if you suffer from alcoholism or addiction, you have to remember that you have the addicted brain, and the addicted brain is one of the most fascinating brains in the world. And it means that if you put your mind to it and can visualize it, you can accomplish anything you want. And I'll get into that shortly. But I applied for a session bass playing job at a small little studio in Stockport, just outside Manchester. It was owned by a little band called 10cc. And I played there. We played for TV commercials and radio commercials. So back in the day, I'm going to shock all these teenagers now, you had to play a musical instrument. It wasn't all done on keyboard and a screen. So that's what I did. I went in and laid bass tracks down. And I have the addictive brain. So Strawberry Studios became too small for me. So I wanted to go to, I heard there's a bass playing job going at Abbey Road. And he was like, oh, Abbey Road is just like the pinnacle for everybody. So I remember going there and going for my first audition. Got the train down there with my guitar. I got out. I stood outside, and there's a beer shop just near. So I thought to myself, well, I'm so nervous, just have one beer for one audition. Doesn't sound that bad. And that's what I did. I had one beer for one audition. So I got that audition and followed by 6 more auditions before I got the position. So my alcoholic thinking, I'm drinking 6 beers outside my final audition. Because 1 for 1 drink, 2 for 2 audition, 3 for... So I was 6 beers, and I was wasted, I went in. They gave me some music, I played it straight off, I come out, I went back home, and you have to wait for the letter to come. And I got the job. Now, can you imagine what that told my alcoholic brain? When you drink, you're successful. End of story. And so my drinking continued for years and years after that.
Yeah, and that's such a common story, too. It's like, and something else when I was reading through your stuff, and we share such a same philosophy, is that the drinking is not my problem. or the drugs. Those aren't my problem, or the eating, or the sex, or the whatever it is you're doing. It's my thinking. My thinking is broken. My thinker is broken, and drinking and drugs helps with that. It helps me cope with that.
Yes.
And so it's such a common story that we hear. But and the other part is, drugs and alcohol, they don't care who you are. You're successful, you're a failure, you're a doctor or a lawyer or a judge. It's an equal opportunity killer. One of the things I read on your website, which I love, it's like, that you recognize there's 3 core concepts that keep most addicts and alcoholics rooted in their disease, and that's fear, abandonment, and shame. So share a little bit about that philosophy.
Fear is something that we all have every single day. Alcoholics will take that to the excess. An alcoholic brain will be worrying almost 24 hours a day. So that comes with fear. What most people do is they make practical decisions based on fear. So let me tell you about a guy that I once knew that he was a musician like me. And I got asked to play bass in it, but I was like, no, I'm okay. I'll stick where I am. And he got asked to play guitar. And he was an architect. And he had a great job. He had a kid. He had a wife. And he had a mortgage. So he was in R&R. And he decided not to go with that because he wanted to stay with the safe option, fear. But he thought he made a practical decision. So when Oasis first made their first song, and he was annoyed that he wasn't the guitar player with that band because he turned it down, 2 years later, the architect firm that he was working for, that he thought was a job for life, let him go. So fear is something that we need to, it's not real, it's only in our mind. And abandonment is huge with the alcoholic and addict. Abandonment comes back from childhood. And people say to me, well, my childhood was okay. Anything less than nurturing as a child is child abuse. Get down off that sand. Don't be so stupid. Stop being an idiot. Don't even talk when I'm speaking to you. Child abuse. And we carry that as alcoholics and addicts into life. And shame, the disease itself is shameful. Even now I fight against stigma with the disease. And shame will take us to a place that no other thought pattern or neural pathway will in our head. And again, all them 3 will lead back to alcohol because that's my comfort. That's my comfort blanket. But let me tell you something, because you say about the thinking, not the drinking. Here's what I realized that. I'm stood outside a liquor store with sold newspapers. It opened at 6 a.m., but they can't serve liquor until 10 a.m. But I'm there, the guy knows me, a Pakistani guy. It's freezing in Manchester. There's snow on the floor. I've got a pair of shorts on, flip-flops, and a t-shirt, and I am sweating profusely. I'm shaking. I'm going into, I know the DTs. If I don't get drink inside me or medication of some sort, I'm going to start going into a fit and I could possibly die. And I'm in a mess. I'm literally like, I can't get my money out. I'm not shaky. I goes into the store at 6 o'clock. He says, hey, Rob, everything's going to be okay. And he put the bottle on the counter and I give him my £10. And this was it. This was my reaction. And my whole body stopped shaking. I stopped sweating. My whole state of mind, I'm asking him, hey, how's your day going? Did you have a good breakfast? And I looked at the hand on the bottle and I realized for the first time in my life, it's not the alcohol. It's me. And that's what set me off with this obsessed look into the human brain and what we're capable of doing, and now how alcoholism especially attacks it and what can we do about it. You see, although we're never cured because we have the addicted brain, and we're the only company in the world that will offer you money back guarantee if you relapse. That's how confident I am, because I've done that much work, and there's so many things that we look for and so many things that we can explain that's going on with the brain that's not been told or found before. That's really interesting. But yeah, the mind, it's like a sign behind you. When people say that to me, I go, you kind of misspelled it. You just missed the apostrophe out. And you go, what are you talking about? No, it should be I'm possible. No, you missed the apostrophe on the top. It's the state of mind, you know? I mean, if we look at quantum physics is a proven science. It's unbelievable. It's so awesome. It's unreal. Well, let's say we're using quantum physics. Now, on a basketball court, I can be up to 25 places at any one time. That's what quantum physics tells me. Now, if I can be anywhere at one time on a basketball court, where would I like to be? I want to be over near the goal. I want to get the ball and dunk it in, and woof, I'm the star of the game. So I can see myself over there. How do I get that job? I walk over and I take that position. I don't interview for it. I don't ask for it. I can only see it. It's there. It's like 40 yards away. What? Just walk over, take the position. And once you get that mindset, not only is it possible, 100% guaranteed possible, but when you get there, you've primed the brain of already being there. So people freak out when they get to a new place. Like, oh my God, I'm here. Oh, I'm going to score. Oh my. No, you've already visualized it. The brain's been primed. So when you walk over and take the position, take that car, take that girlfriend, buy that house, your brain's already primed. You don't freak out. You've already been there. And that's what I do today. I take people that come that want to make something of their life. I take them to the Porsche dealership. I take them to the $1 million houses on the hill. And I get them to sit there. And I get them to take that Porsche that they've always wanted for a drive. Because when it happens, and it will, with the right set of mind, when you go to buy that Porsche, you're not freaking out. You've been there. You know where all the controls are. You know, it feels good. The body goes, oh, yeah, this feels, oh, yeah, we've been there before, guys. And that's one of the keys to life.
It's so important to realize that in my opinion, why most people fail in sobriety is, well, there's a couple of reasons. One is it's really hard, right? And so people don't like hard. We want easy. The other thing is that it's not about not drinking. It's about growing up. It's about looking the world in the eye. And it's about what we call in our world, emotional sobriety. This goes back to how my brain is wired. And mine was wired, I don't want to say right and wrong, because those can be kind of insulting sometimes. Those are powerful words. But mine is wired to think differently. And the way my brain thinks, at least the first time right away, is usually not the right decision. So it's great to have an accountability partner, and it's to somebody to help me grow up, because I don't know how to do it by myself. Something else you said that's really important on your website, it's healing the body, mind, and spirit. I've been broken on so many different levels. So tell us, how do you use your therapies to heal that body, mind, and spirit?
First of all, we have to look at like the disease itself and what it has an effect. Alcohol has this much to do with alcoholism, and drugs have this much to do with drug addiction, as me and you know. So we have to look at that. I always say to my patients, hey, here we go, guys. So if we could swap places for 10 minutes, Mr. Smith, all your problems will be over. Because what you feel and think I see, I don't. What I see is an amazing, good-looking, educated guy who could walk out there and storm the world. But if you ever saw that, that just might come true. And oh my goodness, change and fear, I think I'll run back to alcohol and drugs. So we work on the neural pathways in the head, about changing them, redirecting them. Because I have born as an alcoholic. I believe I'm born as an alcoholic. I believe you can take enough drugs to become a drug addict, because that becomes, you know, the things you do every single day and repetition, and then we can become a drug addict. You can't become an alcoholic by using too much alcohol. It's impossible. I know people drink more than me, you know, more frequent than me, not alcoholic. When a mouthful goes in my body, I react differently. My brain is mapped out completely to anybody else. So we need to start remapping the brain. And there's so many things we can do to do that. It's the mindset. If you think you can do it, you'll do it. So we do that. We will lead you in and teach you things that you don't know, and show you things and complement things, and really understand that words are so powerful. And people go, well, yeah, they're kind of, but hey, Rob, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I beg to differ. Let me give you a prime example. A patient of mine, John L., just come out of a session with me, and he was driving home. My assistant running, and she was like shaking. I said, what's wrong? Dr. Robb, you need to call John L. Why? Well, his father's just been in a car accident and he's been killed on the side of the road. You've got to call him now. They call the office. And I'm like, oh God. So I called him up. I tried to explain. He pulled over. He said, I'm shaking. I can't stop crying. I'm sweating. And I've just peed myself. I don't know what to do, Dr. Robb. Please help. And he's sobbing uncontrollably. So I calmed him down. And then I said, give me 10 minutes. I'm going to drive out to you. So I put the phone down. I'm getting my stuff ready. And the assistant runs in. Now she's white. And she says, oh, my God, Dr. Robb, we've got the wrong John. It's John B, not John L, whose dad's died. I'm like, oh, my goodness. Go, you call it. I'll call John L back. So I called John L back, and I told him, I am so sorry. And I explained. And he said, oh, thank God it's not true. But then it made me think. His body reacted to my words. He lost control of his whole being from words I've said on a telephone, not even face to face, He doesn't even know whether it's true or not. In this case, it wasn't true, and yet his body reacted. So if we can do that with bad words, what can we do with good words? And that's what we base our neuro-linguistic programming on, is getting them good words in. Because listen, guys, I've got something to say to you. If you don't think you're possible, if you don't think you're good enough, if you don't think you can achieve in life, I want to apologize. Because I'm telling you now, somebody's put that there, guys. Somebody's put that into your mind. And we need to correct that, because that is wrong. That is someone in your childhood or teens that's told you that your addicted brain, self-sabotaging neural pathways, has grabbed hold of and stored in the subconscious brain to bring it up one day whenever you want to try to succeed. It's going to pop this little gem in. What we have to do is go back to the scene of the crime, and we need to clear that stuff up. So there's no surprises in that zip file at the back. No surprises at all. When you click on it someday with a thought pattern, that I like to call them stressors, and I like to call them triggers. When you get a stressor that will release that part of the brain, there's nothing there. Otherwise, you will drink, you will commit suicide, you will die. All these horrible things will do, because the brain can't take all this stuff at once. It has to be cleared up slowly. And then we make you realize who you are.
It's important to realize that your brain drives your body. This body, it's like a car, and your brain is the driver of this car. And your body does what your brain tells it to do. And if you're feeding it with drugs, alcohol, food, or whatever is keeping you sick, then your body's going to go in that direction. I have a client, and he's trying to quit smoking. He said to me last month sometime, he's something about how he started smoking and he relapsed, and he texted me, he goes, "I'm dumb." And I said, right there, that's part of the problem. You know, if you tell yourself you're dumb, stupid, worthless, unworthy, whatever you tell yourself, that's the direction your life is going to go. That's the direction your body's going to go.
Every single time.
The sad part about this disease of addiction and alcoholism, there's two parts to it, right? There is that physical addiction. It does actually exist. There's that craving that you were talking about it earlier. Normal people, if they start catching a buzz, the red light goes on. For me, when I start catching a buzz, the green light goes on. Yeah. Now we have a party, okay? Yeah. So the idea is like, I need to get that physical part out of the way. So that's the sad part, because I have to stop that, and then I have to work on my mind so I don't go back there. And that's what we're talking about here. And you put it so eloquently. I love it. So hold on a second. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just in a minute. So you can't think your way into a new way of acting. You have to act your way into a new way of thinking and being. Hi, I'm Dennis Berry, best-selling author, speaker, and life coach for addiction recovery. So many people are stuck in their addiction, whether it's like drugs or alcohol or food or shopping or sex or money, and they think they can just stop or try to figure it out on their own, but they don't change anything in their lives. Nothing changes if nothing changes. In order for change to happen, you have to change something. My clients will be like, oh, I'll stop tomorrow, or if this happens, then I stop, or someday I'll just give it up. And then they just sit around and think, and hope for different or better results, but it doesn't happen. You have to take action. Action most people aren't willing to take. People don't become willing until they're in enough pain, me included. And unfortunately, they wait, and they wait. And time passes by. Even if you are willing, you don't even know where to begin. And that's where I come in. In my best-selling book, Funky Wisdom, A Practical Guide to Life, I talk about the how approach. How do I get sober? How do I stop doing drugs? How do I become healthier? How do I have more successful relationships? How do I become more financially successful? And the answer is how. Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. I have to honestly admit that there's a problem. I have to honestly admit that things aren't going well and there needs to be changes. And then once I do that, the door opens and I become open to seeing new ways of living. And then I become willing to make those changes. You can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. That's why I'm here to help. You know, I've been working with clients for over 15 years and helping them get clean and sober and change their lives and achieve inner peace and success. If you or somebody you love is struggling and doesn't know where to begin and how to make those changes to get to where they need to be, give me a call. Not tomorrow or in a week from now when you're hungover and your life is falling apart. Call now. Start making that change today, and you'll be glad that you did. I'm sending you love and good vibes. Have a great day today. All right, we are back, and we're talking with Dr. Robb Kelly, who's joining us from Texas. So something else that I put in my book, it's called the how approach. And I know you know this, but the how. It's like, how do I get sober? How do I get clean? How do I become successful? How do I have good relationships? How do I lose weight and get healthy again? It stands for honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. In order to really get clean and sober, we need to approach everything from that point of view. And the big piece of that, honesty, okay, I have a problem, things aren't going well, I'm dying. Right? That's not good. I need to be open, and that usually comes from pain. But the big piece there is the willingness. And so what do we do when there's somebody who's struggling, somebody who's listening to us right now that is just dying right now? They woke up, they crashed their car last night, they got a DUI, they wake up crying, they swear they're never going to drink again, and then they start drinking. And they're listening to this right now, and they don't have the willingness to stop. What do we do with that?
Well, information is powerful in addiction recovery. So first of all, if you're an inkling inside, you want to stop and you don't want to do this again, pick up the phone and call somebody. Call me. Before we go today, I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to leave everybody my personal cell phone number. If you're going through this and you need help, I'm not talking about coming to Robb Kelly Recovery Group. I'm not interested in that. You probably won't pass the assessment anyway. Call me. Give me 10 minutes on the phone with you. I'll change your mind, and you can start getting some help. Because people don't want to take that first step because they're scared. We've all got to live up to a potential that we've got inside us, and we can do it, guys. It's daunting to you inside now while you're thinking, I can't do it. I can't stop drinking. Pick up the phone. Start with a call to me or a call to your local AA office. Get to an AA meeting just to start with. Just sit there. Because what happens with alcoholics is you go, I'm so embarrassed because, hey, there's only me doing this with these thoughts. No, there isn't. I remember calling in the early days to AA and head office, and I was drinking, and my wife made me call, and I was just so scared. And I told him the story. I've been drinking. I've done this, I've done that. And he said, "Whereabouts are you?" So I told him, and he went, "Hey, listen, so lucky today for you. There's a meeting just around the corner from you that you can get to." And I was like, "What? I am a doctor. I cannot go to a meeting and let everybody see me." And do you know what he said to me? "Well, do you want to give me a call back when you're not?" And I thought, oh my God, people in there just like me. There's loads of help out there. There's loads. Email us, call us. We can help you. If you've been in treatment center 15 times and just got so disillusioned, call us. I'll leave all the numbers at the end and all the websites. Call us because we can help you with this stuff. See, my job today is helping people. I had food poisoning once. I went to the doctors and I said, "What's going on with me? I'm so sick." He said, "You've got food poisoning, Rob. Here's, drink some water." In a few days, food poisoning would have gone. I said, "Is there any cure for food poisoning?" He said, "Hell no, but let me give you a few simple steps to make sure you don't get food poisoning again." And he did. This is 28 years ago. He told me to check the dates on the food, don't reheat frozen food, I didn't know that, and all these steps. And I've never had food poisoning since that day. It's the same thing with alcoholism. Let us give you a few simple steps, a few simple thought patterns, a few simple truths about you, because you don't know who you are, and all of a sudden this crazy monster climb becomes a little ant hill, and you can walk over it and get on with your life. Yeah. See, life has to be, and here's the crux of the matter. I was the guy snorting cocaine and drinking alcohol in the penthouse suite of the Savoy Hotel with Elton John. Does life get any better than that? Yeah, it has to. Because if it doesn't, I'm going back there. And people say, "Well, you shouldn't say that, Rob." No, I'm going back there. Life has to be an amazing thing. If you want to be the CEO, you can be. If you want to own that car, you can do. If you want to buy that house and date that girl, it's possible. You got to put the drink down first. And it's not as hard as you think it is. There is a solution, and it works every single day. It works. So what happens with me is, this is me, Dennis. This is the guy. This is the makeup of me. This is the guy that's going to steal your girlfriend, sleep with your wife, steal your car, rob you blind, and steal your drugs and help you look for it. That's how I get up in the morning. This guy here, I'll call the hand of God, because I'm a spiritual guy. I call my sponsor. I work with guys. I work with patients. I do my home stuff, and I help another alcoholic. And in the morning, I walk out the door like this. See this guy here? This guy's amazing. This guy's going to stay sober today. This guy's going to help somebody, compliment 3 people every single day. This guy's amazing. But you know who wakes me up next morning? It's this guy. And unless we do exactly the same, this guy's going to cause some damage. That's where the dynamic 3 comes from.
Yeah, and that's the old thinking is my problem thing, because I like you, have a nice life. I live in a nice place. I'm pretty healthy. I have some money in the bank. Everything's going really well. But the first thing I do when I open my eyes in the morning is go right into fear. I think about the 3 things in my life that aren't perfect, and I focus on those. So the idea is to redirect my thinking as soon as possible. And that takes programming, and it takes coaching, and it takes somebody else to help get me there, because my intuition goes right back to the shit that I'm not living in, but my brain tells me
Always. Yeah, always go. Because of the self-sabotage in your pathway, it's self-forced thought pattern. I got up a few months ago, and we'd lost a client somehow, and one cancelled. And I was sat there, and my wife came over and said, "What, you okay?" And I said, "Well, I've been worried in case, we don't get any more clients, and I don't want to end up on the streets again." And she grabbed, this is our checking account, okay? This is not savings or she got my checking account, she put it out and she put it in front of me. And she said, "Repeat that figure." I said, $420,000. But, it's nothing, we might go broke. And she looked at me and said, "Are you insane? What? How do you get that thinking?" But that's the way we are, when anything starts going. Because this is what I've realized in the last couple of years. And when you come to peace with it, once you're in recovery, if you come to peace with this, life will take on a new meaning. I'm never going to be blonde enough. I'm never going to be tall enough. I'm never going to be rich enough, and I'm never going to be thin enough. And once you understand that and realize that this is the body I'm giving, keep healthy, go to the gym, and have a great time, then stop looking at your defects. Because I tell you something, guys, nobody else is. Everyone's too busy getting on with their own shit. It's like, "Oh, is it okay to go, look, are my arms big enough today?" Oh, nobody cares. Everybody's getting on with life, and it's like, when I get a new car, I'm driving around. "Did you see my new car?" "No, I didn't know you had a new car." "Yeah, oh, you're not looking at me. Oh, okay." And life just got a lot easier for me when I realized that.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that, because I always say that too. I was like, I'm worried about like what people are thinking about me. That's my natural instinct, and nobody is, because nobody here. You know why? Because they're all worried about their own stuff. They're thinking about themselves, which is part of the problem of us, is that I'm selfish by nature. I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about me. And part of this rewiring is like getting out of myself. How can I be of service today? How can I help somebody and get out of myself? And when I do, I stop thinking about these problems I think I have.
Yeah.
Those problems.
I like that. Think you have.
Yeah, and
I like that.
Those problems that I think that I have were the reasons I drank. That was why I drank, because I'm full of fear, insecurity, and I am worried all the time. And that my grandmother told my mother when I was 5 years old. She said, "He worries like a little old man."
Yes.
So I had that in my brain when I was 5 years old. And fast forward to when I was 31 years old, when I couldn't stop drinking and I was 60 pounds overweight and with dark circles under my eyes, looking in the mirror and crying. And it's because I was that same 5-year-old boy who never learned how to cope with life. And that's why people get sick later on in life, because you have to rewire your brain. So for those that are sick right now and hungover and crying and your marriage is falling apart and you're unhealthy and you don't know what to do, call me, call doctor. Let's make a change. And the reason is because if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you're sick right now and you go start drinking again, you're going to be sick tomorrow morning and you're going to be in that same sickness and fear. Do something right now and then you'll have different results. That's how.
The other thing is as well is you have to start believing that this is possible. We have a saying, we have a couple of sayings, but one of this saying here, because I can't stop drinking, or I can't get well, and I can't have that marriage, and I can't get that job. Says who? That's all I'm saying to you. Says who, guys? Me and my wife got married about 5-6 years ago. We had an argument after about 2 weeks of marriage, and my wife said to me, "This is just how marriage is." And then we both looked at each other, and I said, "Says who?" Okay, then. We dance in the bathroom every morning. We throw stuff at each other. I'm surprised she hasn't thrown stuff at me over here, because I'm trying to be serious. We're laughing and joking all the time. Says who? Says who you can't do that? And these are the things you've got to think about, guys. It's like my very good friend Gordon Ramsay, the guy off TV and the show. I'm sat in his kitchen and we're having dinner one day, and he looked at me straight in the eye, and he said to me, "Rob, do you know how I am the best chef in the world?" And I said, "Hell yeah, because you can cook really well." He went, "Nope." I was like, "Why?" "Because I tell everybody I am." I was like, oh my God, I've got to start telling people that. So I say that I'm the best addictionologist in the world, period. I will stand up against anybody. You don't know as much as I do. You can't do what I do. You know, well, says who? Followed up by says who. So I'm telling you guys out there is if you start telling people that you are the guy that can do this, that you believe in yourself so much that you can do this, you know, even if you fail at something, it's not right for you. Someone up there, higher power, God, supreme being, universe is trying to tell you got something else because you're asking for too little and the universe wants to give you so much. Start asking for this stuff, especially if you start working with God's kids, because life is too short, man. Listen, when I was drinking heavily, I came home and I went upstairs, I got some drink. 2 o'clock in the morning, I came down and I was trying to look for vodka. And I found some big bottle, this much in the bottom. And I grabbed it off the side and I took a swig and I put it back and thought, don't be an animal, get a crystal glass, because I'm not an alcoholic by this. So I'm opening the cupboard looking for the crystal glass and my wife comes behind me and she snatches the bottom of it. And she said, I think you've had enough, Rob. She was probably right, to be honest, Dennis. What I should have done is thank you, Mrs. Kelly, walked her to bed, slept through the 4 hours going to work for the board meeting. What this alcoholic did was took a kitchen knife out and I stabbed her 3 times. I went to Spain on a bender. She went into intensive care and nearly died. I only came back when she promised not to press charges. So when I get back, she's got all my kids, 2 kids, ages 1 and 3, ready to go, and she left the house with my kids. I got onto my attorney. I said, get my kids back here tomorrow, otherwise I'm done doing business with you. Sure enough, the next day, he brought my kids back. Dennis, I was so happy. I gave him a huge check for 50 grand or something. I put him in front of the TV. I walked into the kitchen. I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if he had one beer just to celebrate my kids coming back? Was the last thing I heard for 3 days. When the police kicked the door down and barraged the door down with the authorities, with her and mom and 4 policemen, the vodka bottles were around the floor. The kids had not been changed or fed for 3 days. They grabbed the kids and they hit me with unfit father papers. And I walked through the door, and this is what my daughter says. She was crying. Everyone was crying. The police were crying. That's how sad this was. And they're walking down the path. She says, Daddy, Daddy, please don't go. And then she says, halfway down the path, Daddy, Daddy, please get better. And as she got to the gate and opened the gate, the last thing she said 20 odd years ago was, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So I closed the door, I went back to the beer fridge, and 3 or 4 months later, I was on the street. So when I'm talking and I'm getting all excited about recovery, people going, yeah, Rob, but you don't know. Yeah, I kind of do. You know, I was wondering why my higher power universe had sent me on the streets and lost all my kids. Today I know. What I went through them on the streets is like a semester at Harvard. The intelligence, the information, the training that I got from there. So if I can do it from humble beginnings such as the streets, and not be eating for days and days, and went down to about 110 pounds from a 250 pound guy, you know, it's possible. Anything's possible. What I have done in the last 15, 20 years is humanly impossible. If you can't do it yourself, if you've gone to friends, you can't do it, whatever it is, why not ask for help from something not human? Why not go, hey, if there's a God up there? Because that's what I did. I got on my hands and knees when I was, after a year of being on the streets, it was, I looked up to the sky, if there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. My life changed 30 seconds later. 2:30 in the morning, in a side street, a guy found me, Christian guy, and my journey started. This is possible, guys. This is doable. And remember, if you don't think you can have something, or don't think this is the way to do it, or don't think you can have a perfect life, says who? Question it. Question everything about your thought pattern. Alcoholics have a brain that wants to kill them and make it look like an accident. You can change that real easy.
Here's a cool question. If you can go back to your 16-year-old self and talk to that little guy, what would you tell him?
I tell him that every opportunity is available to you and that you can be whoever you want to be as long as you want it bad enough. And that you should inspire people from the very beginning. And you should compliment people, because when I compliment people, dopamine is released in my brain. And you should be somebody that people want to aspire to. And even if you're not, you need to start thinking and acting that way. Because once you start doing that, the way the brain works, Psychology 101, it will start mimicking what you are already thinking in the prefrontal cortex. And that life is going to be amazing. And most importantly, it's okay. It's going to be okay.
I love that. I love that. It's going to be okay. And it is. It's going to be okay. You know, another cliche is everything's going to be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end yet.
Yeah,
So,
I like that.
yes. And it's like, enjoy each day. You know, we don't know when the end is coming, but it's going to be okay. For those that want to get in touch with you, buy your book, Daddy, Please Don't Drink, or Please Stop Drinking, right?
Yeah, the last thing my daughter said to me, oh, and by the way, guys, 18 months ago, that same daughter, after 22 years, contacted me on Facebook. I've been over back to England 3 times in the past 18 months. We've held each other. We've done things that dad and daughter should, and I've also held my grandchild. But that was the last thing she said to me 20 years ago was, Daddy, please stop drinking. That's the title of the book.
Beautiful story. I love it. And you see, there is hope. And you know what? There is that period of reparation ahead. Like, you may have caused damage. You may have broken relationships, had some legal problems, financial problems, health problems. Those can all be reversed. Nothing's permanent, right? That's all ancient.
Exactly.
Wisdom. Yes.
Yeah. All the time. And remember, guys, remember this. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Be careful who you hang around. Don't share your dreams with people who don't share your dreams. Dr. Robb Kelly, 2009. Isn't that powerful?
I love it. So, all right. So, how people get in touch with you?
Okay, so you can see my name there, Dr. Robb Kelly with 2 B's. It's just robkelly.com. You can call the office when you get on the website. But here is just for this podcast alone, for people that are struggling out there. Let me give you a 10-minute talk that will change your life. 214-600-0210. That's my personal cell phone number. If you call me, I will change the way you think in minutes, believe me. Take it up if you're not doing anything else. Take that challenge up and I will change your life.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Robb Kelly. I appreciate you spending the time today. I had a great time and hope we could do it again soon sometime.
Excellent. Thank you so much indeed, Dan. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody, for watching the Funky Brain podcast. Have a great day today. Talk to you soon.